his design and execution. He built a search-optimized landing page or item page. He cultivated his existing customer community through a Facebook group. And he worked with affiliates. He built an email of people who were interested in the kinds of products he was going to create. And then he launched it during a high traffic and sales period around Cyber Monday. So even though things are changing, despite the landscape of tech and trends and all that's going on, Envato's going to work hard to create an environment that helps the right customers find the right items for them. If CodeTV can do it, you can do it. CodeTV is an author of one person, not a team. Imagine what you can do when you have access to more people and more resources. The industry has changed, and so has the way that customers expect to be able to purchase items, right? And their level of expertise is changing. Customers are looking for more value and more ways to access their items and easier ways to manipulate them, to actually edit them. And so in responding to this the shift in customer behavior, Envato has been trying to find ways to make our content available to them, or your content available to them. Customers now have 4 different ways that authors can earn from content. 4 different ways that customers can access it. There's individual purchases through Market, subscription-based downloads through Elements. We've got adaptive mockups available through Playset, and you also have access to affiliates and affiliate sales. These are all opportunities for authors to earn, and in fact, you can earn in some cases all of those different ways from the same item. So you're only doing the work once, but you're generating revenue in 4 different ways. And for just a quick example, one of our author presenters from St. Petersburg this year chose to make their best items available to Placeit, Elements, and Market. They realized that restricting their view to revenue per download only, they weren't going to be increasing their earnings. When they tried to get as much as they could from an individual sale, they were missing out on growth in their overall earnings. And since changing that view and looking at how they can maximize their total revenue per item, monthly earnings have doubled for them. In fact, Timaphoto is the name of the author, and his earnings on Placeit have now become more than his earnings on Elements. It tells you what the potential is there. With affiliate sales, potential revenue grows even more, right? Because you can earn not just from sales of your own items, but you can earn from the sales of other people's items. Because remember, Envato and value is created when we connect the right person or the right customer to the right item, even if that item isn't yours. And that's a good way to earn. And we know that the affiliate program is a worthwhile investment, and so you can actually go right to that link and sign up to join the affiliate program if you're not in it. And if you're doing all this work to create your own customer community, if you're writing posts, if you're telling stories, if you're inviting potential customers into your experience, what's going to happen is you're going to generate a following. And you want to earn from that following, even if that means they're not buying your item. Affiliate program is a great way to do that. We've embedded in our DNA the value that we succeed when our community succeeds. And that value drives a lot of the decisions that we make. And one way that we actually measure that is through the amount of revenue that gets sent directly to authors, especially those who sell through our ecosystem. And in last year's public impact statement, we put out this little graph that shows the difference between Shutterstock, which is a big agency, and Envato. And while Shutterstock generated a lot more revenue, so the light blue bar is their total revenue, they actually gave about the same amount to their authors as Envato did. But look at how little Envato's revenue is in comparison. From my point of view, and I think from the point of view of many people at Envato, this is the story that matters to us. That we give more to authors than we take for ourselves. Most people, when they see us on the forums, thank you. Most people, when they talk to us on the forums or they see the decisions we make, they think that we're out to get them or that we're doing things for our own self-interest. That's the true picture. We don't do it for ourselves. We do it to make sure that authors can earn even as the landscape changes. Authors have been incredibly active this year, and we've seen phenomenal growth across all of our platforms. As I talked about earlier, on Market, we've had over 925,000 new items launched by 18,000 authors. And on Elements, the story is growing too. In fact, on Elements, at the beginning of January, we had a party at Envato because we had hit 100,000 subscribers. Woo! But wait, just a few months after that, we hit 150,000 subscribers. But you know what happened last week? We hit 200,000 subscribers, doubling Elements subscribers in less than 1 year. That is the phenomenal growth of Elements, and it speaks to our community, and it speaks to us further solidifying Elements' position as one of the largest, if not the largest, subscription platform for digital assets. We've grown the number of authors on Elements by 50%. So we've doubled the number of customers, of subscribers, but only grown authors by 50%. And that means that subscriber growth, that means the number of customers coming in is coming way quicker than the number of new people who are earning. Which again puts us in that position of having lots of demand and little supply, which keeps earnings for authors stable. And authors have now contributed 1.8 million items to Elements. And average earnings have grown month over month for the majority of authors who are actively publishing on Elements. That's been going on since it started. When compared to others in our industry, our community consistently earns more from Envato than they do from anywhere else. And that's something we're particularly proud of. In fact, this year on our public impact statement, have a look at the earnings per item that you can see, and we compare ourselves to some of the other agencies, and it's quite staggering. But milestones for everyone aren't just measured in sales, right? It could be launching your first item, it could be hiring your first employee, maybe moving into your first office, or leaving the big city of Jakarta and going back home to the country to set up your office. There are lots of milestones that all of us have achieved this year. And no matter who you are, and no matter what milestone you've hit, we want to say congratulations to you. Well, this year has been a big year of milestones for us. I got lots more to talk about. There's so much to tell you. Do we need a break, though? Do you need like a little stretch?
No.
You want me to keep going? Good. Louise is eager. All right, sorry. She wants me to finish up. I'm going to be a while, Louise, sorry. This year we also achieved some other milestones. Here's a few of them, and that's probably going to be translated wrong, so you can just listen along. But we completed the offering of item types on Elements with the introduction of audio last November. And so this concluded a 2-year effort to ramp up the depth and diversity of content on Elements and provide ways for authors from all of our marketplaces to be able to earn from Elements. For the first time in a few years, we also brought our review queues to within our desired targets. In particular, ThemeForest and Video Hive have seen dramatic reductions in wait times, with many new items on ThemeForest being reviewed within 1 to 2 days. And stock footage review queues going from a high last August, not this past August, but the August before. It was at 140 days, almost over 6 months before an item would be reviewed, to now having it done within a couple of days. We also finished our author-driven pricing project. Now authors across all of our marketplaces can set their own prices for their items. And this past year, we also concluded a multi-year project to fingerprint our audio library. What we mean by that is we've taken a digital printing or a digital analysis of every audio item that's ever been uploaded to Envato. And with that information, we can start to use machine learning and artificial intelligence to start to support what we do as an author community. Imagine a world where when you upload an item to Audio Jungle, for example, and it gets scanned to see if it's a copy of something else that already exists in our library. Imagine if we could extend that out to other item types, and now these copycat items that show up disappear. It's one possibility. I'm not saying that's what we could do, but those are the kinds of things that we're working toward. And we're very excited about that. So fingerprinting our audio library is the first step in being able to open up those kinds of doors and help authors continue to be effective and successful. While completing a few of those major projects, we also have added some new products to the Envato family. You've already heard a lot about Placeit, but we also added another one with 2020. Placeit is, they're on a tear. Their growth is wild. When we brought them on board, we set some targets that we thought were like really, really hard. And within a few months, they hit those. We were like, oh, okay. Maybe we'll make them harder. And then they went, yep, that's fine. And then they hit those. And they continue to be growing and growing. And what we've been really excited about is that from day one, our goal has always been to figure out how we can help authors earn from Placeit. And authors, even some authors in this room, are now able to earn from Placeit. And we hope to see that continue to grow over time as well. In November of last year, we shut down Envato Hosted. That was a service that we were running for Theme Forest. And a lot of times, you may not see this, but Envato works in a process where we like to fail really quick. What that means is that we want to try something out, see if it has any traction, and if it doesn't, we stop it and we move on. We learned a lot about hosting, we learned a lot about customers, we learned a lot about that industry, but in the end, our core strengths aren't as a hosting company, they are as a marketplace. So we closed it down and focused on that instead. And yeah, finally this spring we also added 2020 to our community. 2020 is a group of about 350,000 amateur and professional photographers. And they contribute their photos through an app. The quality and authenticity of those photos have actually helped them capture some major customers, including Apple and Google, the Walt Disney Company, Lyft, Pinterest, T-Mobile, and Snapchat, just to name a few. And why that's important is that we think that photos are a huge market with massive potential for Envato's author community. When Envato first got going, everything was about Theme Forest. And Theme Forest remains our largest source of traffic and our largest source of customers. The idea that happens on market is people come to Envato for a theme and they stay for the rest, right? Photos represents a new wave in this era of social media to do something similar. So imagine a future where photos are the gateway for customers to come in and see all that Envato has to offer. There's a lot of customers out there who know how to use photos, not nearly, way more than there are people who know how to use themes. So we think there's a lot of opportunity there. We recently made 2020 photos available through Elements, and we're very excited to welcome their contributors to the author community here at Envato. All right, still going, still got more. Lots going on. This year we also launched Envato Elements for WordPress, and it's a collection of layouts for the top 2 page builders, Elementor and Weaver Builder. If you are here and you are building themes or plugins, I highly encourage you to focus your energy and effort on learning and enhancing Elementor as a page builder. It's got over 3 million active installs and continues to grow month over month. If you are a designer and you are looking for a way to get into the theme business or the template business, stay tuned to what's happening with Elementor, because there is going to be some neat opportunities, I think, for people with no coding background, but with incredible design skills, to be able to get into that theme forest type market. Okay? That's all I can say. I'm not allowed to say more. Yet. I'm being sneaky. But the plugin, what's really cool about it is that because it's inside of WordPress, people with an Element subscription can actually download photos from their Element subscription right inside of WordPress and put it into their blog posts. And that's something we want to continue to do. So we've also launched this product, which is for Sketch. And we've got about 15, as you can see there, or probably more now, free website UI kits that people can get and plug in those layouts right into Sketch. The idea is that if we can get them excited about using content from Envato, they'll want to go and buy content from Envato, and specifically from Elements. So these are just the beginning. Place It in 2020, they're going to be some really big parts of our strategy moving forward, because what we, over the last few years, what we've been learning is that there is a lot of growth in this DIY space. People like you and me who get a smartphone and think that we can change the world just by doing stuff on our phones, right? Having a phone makes people think they're extra creative, right? Think about all the photos you've seen on Instagram of people trying to be creative, right? And so these DIY type customers, they're looking for assets, they're looking for graphics and fonts and logos and items to help them do what they do better. The problem is they don't know how to use any of the tools to make those things happen. So Place It in 2020 will help us to be able to get into that DIY space. Place It in particular is going to be like that. We think that the more that they get involved, the more it's going to benefit all content types, not just photos and adaptive mockups. This year we also launched several new products to learn more about that. So you heard me talk a little bit about the free UX and UI kits in Sketch. We also launched MixKit. MixKit is a free video site that gets high quality stock footage into the hands of makers or creators, similar to sites like Pexels and Unsplash. 2020, that acquisition actually brought with it its own free photo site called Reshot, where you can get photos. And we think that both of these are going to help drive customer growth to Envato and ultimately help all creatives, whether they're just starting out as a creative or those who are getting serious about their creative projects. And we want to help them all get it done. We also recently launched a new website builder designed specifically for Instagram called Milkshake. Now, users can actually create a free website right from their mobile phone and link to it from their Instagram profile. These are just a few examples. Okay, you can applaud that. I like Milkshake. I got a milkshake. If you go to my Instagram, you can see my milkshake link. Just saying, it's there. But we think that Envato is uniquely positioned to help makers of all skill levels get their creative projects done. And our plans for the next few years are to really lean into that and grow our maker customer base while continuing to serve and improve the experience for our professional customers through deeper in-app functionality. All right. So with all of that happening, what are we doing? What's FY20? What does 2020 look like for Envato? Well, I think to begin, we're investing heavily in our authors. If there's one thing I have seen over the last little while, it is that there has been a huge shift in the views of our staff team to learn more about our authors, to get stuck in, as we say in Australia, with our author community, to visit more, to spend time with you face to face. And so we're going to be investing in a few big key things in the author space. And the first is in discovery. We want to make investments here, and we began this year working on a multi-year project to redesign and repurpose category pages. We began by conducting research with our customers, asking them what they wanted, understanding how they use the website, looking at their patterns, primarily looking to better understand what are the steps that they take to make a purchase. It's those studies and research that help us understand how important Google is to the way that customers find items. But what we also learned from that has informed a lot of... That sounds like a pretty rain. I honestly thought that was everybody crinkling their plastic water bottles at the same time. Is it coming down? Can you still hear me? Yeah. All right, everybody. Why don't we take a moment? Why don't you stand up? Can I get everybody to stand up? Do a little stretch. Arm up. Maybe turn to the person beside you. Say, "You're looking good tonight." All right. Have a seat. I find the rain is always loudest when it starts, and then it gets quieter. Well, as I was saying, we're investing in discovery, and we're investing in search as well. You heard Brett talk about how much he doesn't like search on elements, but we want to fix it as much as we can. So we want to make finding the right item for customers as easy as possible. And so we're going to be working to improve search with that in mind.